Hey everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about what you need to learn to lose weight. And I got a hint for you. It's not nutrition. You really don't need to learn a whole lot more about nutrition. Knowing what to do is really not your main problem when it comes to weight loss. The main thing you got to learn is how you behave and why you behave the way you do, because it is not enough to know what to do. Obviously, you've known what to do a long time when it comes to weight loss and eating, but you haven't been able to get yourself to do it. So what you have to learn is how to influence your behaviors in a more effective way. In order to understand that, you need to learn. Let's take one quick step back too. You need to learn, right? It's not just enough about being told something. You need to learn. There's a difference between being told something and learning it. And learning, unfortunately, takes a little bit longer. It's a different process. But as you start to focus on the learning process, I think you set yourself up for a much better results, because learning is more important than just being told something. But that being said, you need to be told something at first to be able to learn it. So what I would suggest you focus on learning more than what you should eat is how to get yourself to eat the way you already know you should. I believe you already know enough about what you should and shouldn't eat to start losing weight. The big challenge is you don't know how to get yourself to do it consistently. And this is because you have never learned how to influence your own behaviors. So for me, to understand how to influence your own behaviors, you need to understand how your mind works. And the key factor there is that you have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. And the conscious part of your mind, your prefrontal cortex, is about 10% of your brain, newest part of your brain evolutionarily. And the rest of your brain we'll just call the subconscious mind. And this is where all the things that you've learned how to do just run automatically now, and you just do them on autopilot. And part of what's in there that you've already learned how to do is how to eat. So a lot of your eating is running on autopilot. You eat the same things, eat the same times, eat the same amounts consistently, and that's why your weight is what it is. Now, what you've been doing until now to try and lose weight is you try to use your conscious mind to fight against your subconscious mind. You try and fight against your cravings. You try and fight against your old eating habits and behaviors, and you try and change them in order to lose weight. But what you find happens, even if you are successful changing your behaviors for a little while and losing some weight, is that you ultimately go back to your old eating behaviors and put the weight all back on. So, in my opinion, the most important thing to learn is how your mind operates. Because once you understand that the part of your mind that runs on autopilot, the most powerful part of your brain, is just running these programs that it has in it, then you can start to focus on changing those programs, installing new programs instead of fighting against the old ones. And while this process may take a little bit longer, you're setting yourself up for long-term success, because now you can begin to act in a way automatically and naturally that gets you and then keeps you at your goal weight. So the key thing about the subconscious mind to understand is that it takes repetition. Again, I can tell you how to drive a car. It doesn't mean you can just sit in the car and just do it. I can tell you how to read and write, but it doesn't mean you can just do it. I can tell you how to use a computer mouse. Doesn't mean you just get there and move it all smoothly. It takes practice. And so that's an important thing to understand when it comes to learning about your mind. The key thing is to focus on the subconscious mind and to realize that to influence the subconscious mind, it's going to take some consistent practice. So you're basically going to practice how to be a thin and healthy person, which sounds like a strange concept to most dieters because they think they just need to know what to do and they'll force themselves to do it. But no, you need to train yourself. You need to practice being the person you want to be and installing those subconscious programs into your subconscious mind so that they run on autopilot, so that you can get to your goal weight and live there for the rest of your life on your autopilot. So I hope this makes sense. And again, this is just a very initial start to the concept of learning how to lose weight, learning how to be a thin and healthy person. And if you want to go deeper into this concept, click the link in my bio, go to Program Yourself, then get the free hypnosis session I gave you, watch the video I made for you that goes deeper into this, and read the emails I send you, and they will all help you. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. Oops, technical difficulties at the beginning here. What's up, Joy? How's it going? Sound. Betty says there's no sound. Is there no sound? There must be some sound. I see people over there, but you never know. That might be you, Betty. Hopefully. Hopefully it's just Betty's device, which is how it goes sometimes. Hope everyone's having a nice day. Covering from the Super Bowl, if you watched it. Toasted bagel with cream cheese. All right. And seen you in a little while. Now you're here. How's it going? Yeah. Mustafa says, I work in a call center and I always crave unhealthy food to cope. Yeah. Okay. Great question. Great comment. Because that's what a lot of people are dealing with in some form or another. Yeah. Workplace boredom and then eating in that said workplace to alleviate the boredom is so common. So common. All right. Regina can hear me. Good. I guess then it's probably Betty, your device. So yeah, emotional eating at the end of the day is always everyone's biggest issue, whatever form it shows up for people in. But so if it's boredom eating, right? So you work in a call center and you're just bored and you're using the food to get through the boredom. So yeah, that has a negative effect, obviously, because it doesn't really alleviate the boredom. It does a little bit, but you can get rid of the food piece and keep a lot of the behavior. So I've worked with a lot of people in situations like this. So instead of trying to just give up the food, they'll get rid of the food, but they'll keep the behavior. So a lot of times eating at work means, you get up, you go to the vending machine or you go to, Susie's desk and go grab some candies off her desk or whatever. But you have to realize that it's not just about the food in that situation. You get to stand up, you get to go to a different environment, you get to see some other people, maybe have a conversation. So there's other things going on that kind of break up the monotony of work sometimes. And so a better strategy sometimes to try and just stay at your desk is to get up, go for a walk, poke your head outside, take a few deep breaths, maybe stretch a little bit, move around, maybe have a healthy snack planned and ready to go. And then that way, you're energizing yourself. And then at the end of the day, when you get out of there, you've been eating well. And eventually when you're doing that for a little while, start losing weight. So yeah, I get it though, but you got to find better strategies. And the better strategy is not to just stop. The better strategy is to have a better strategy. If that makes sense. Yeah. There's sound. Yeah, there's sound here on TikTok and there's sound everywhere, I guess. What's up, Tabitha? Mustafa says it's more stress eating than boredom eating. Okay, yeah. Okay, so if it's more stress eating, they're similar though. They're, and I know they may not seem it, but they're in the ballpark. And all emotional eating is the same, folks. Understand this, that emotional eating really doesn't give you the emotions you think it does. So you feel stressed and you go to the food because that's what you've learned how to use to minimize your stress. But how's it minimizing your stress? It's primarily minimizing your stress through distraction. Again, with the food, all of a sudden, and again, it can be stress or boredom. Regardless, it's we're stressed out and we want to take our mind off the things stressing us. So the food becomes a really powerful and effective distraction. And all of a sudden now we're not focused on the things that were stressing us out and we're getting some food in our body, which has some benefits as well in the moment. So yeah, Mustafa, what you want to do is, and again, it starts, good job recognizing, okay, it's stress eating more than boredom eating. Great. So you're like, when I get stressed, I go to the food when I'm working at the call center. And the next question becomes, how do I want to feel during those times? I'm getting stressed. How do I want to respond? Because I don't know why you're stressed. You might be stressed because you don't make a call and you have to. You might be stressed because you made 10 calls and you haven't made a sale or whatever it is you're doing at this call center. Or you might be taking calls in and having to do support and you're just stressed out because you're dealing with dipshits all day. So regardless of what's causing the stress, the question remains the same. How would I like to respond to this? And I think a lot of times us humans don't ask that question because we're just trapped in this cycle of just assuming we're going to get stressed and assuming we're going to go right to the food. And we never kind of create a little bit of daylight there and say, how do I want to respond here? And as soon as you ask that question, now you give yourself a little bit of space to answer it. You might want to respond, I'd like to be calm. Great. The food's not really calming you down. You can calm down way more effectively than eating food by relaxing your body, doing some deep breathing, maybe getting up, going for a little walk, drinking some water. Again, I don't know what your situation is in this place, but again, these are better questions that bring you to a better place. Hope that makes sense. A little snuffy nose there. Partying it up last night watching the Super Bowl. I got the snuffies, snufflies, bed late. Tabitha says, I noticed that my indulgences go overboard on the weekends. How can I help myself to have a balance like the one I have Monday to Friday? You work on it, Tabitha. Yeah, pleasure days typically are the ones that are the hardest to kind of get under control. So that's not unusual. Doesn't it make sense? You're probably eating cleaner and healthier on the weekdays. And then the weekends come and it's like, not only is the food probably more addictive and easier to overeat, but you're probably also in weekend mode a bit. So you're on the right path here. How can help myself to have a balance like the one I have Monday to Friday? That's a wonderful question. But now actually seek to answer it. Don't just notice that your indulgences go overboard on the weekends. Understand why they do. Mentally, what are you thinking? What are you anticipating? What are you expecting? What have you pre-programming yourself and to eat on the weekends? And you'll start to notice there's a lot of expectation and assumption that you're going to overeat on the weekends. So, which is another way to say you're basically literally following your plan. You're planning on overeating on the weekends, and you are. So, yeah. So I would suggest that you ask that question and keep reflecting on it. Keep exploring it. That makes sense. But if you keep doing that, you will get somewhere, right? But don't be worried that the weekends are I'm kind of indulging too much, and I need to kind of get a handle on that. Normal, Says my main issue is the convenience of an unhealthy meal compared to taking time to prepare healthy snacks. Okay, great, Mustafa, great. So you notice how that first question comes along, and it's like, I'm just a stress eater. When I'm working, I'm a call center, and I'm reading the call center, and then we find out, it's because of stress more than boredom, right? And now we find out it's not so much that I don't want to eat something healthy; it's that I don't have the healthy food there, and that's because I'm not taking the time to get it set up. So again, I think this really illustrates such a good point that a lot of times dieters don't take the time to go more in depth with what the problem is. And if you don't go more in depth with what the problem is, you can't really find a strategic solution to it, if that makes sense. And so I don't know, like it's so obvious, I think, when you kind of notice it, but it's so easy to miss. So I think it's really important that we go deeper into what the problem is. And so now Mustafa realized, well, it's the convenience, right? So, which is another way to say you don't really have probably a plan, and B, you don't have the muscle memory, the program installed to have healthy options ready to go for you when you need them most. So again, these questions I hope are bringing you to some more specificity. Because if I popped in every day, now it sounds different. So if I came in every day and I dropped, I was, hey, Mustafa, here you go. And it's like your favorite, healthiest food that you like. And I say, here you go. And I just drop it off every day. Maybe now you say, oh yeah, well, I would just eat that. Well, great. So now your biggest issue is more of a logistical one. It's getting those healthy food options there for you at the times when you need them most. You see? So that's a big difference. It's much more specific, and it's much more fixable than the idea that, well, at work, I just overeat. I'm binging at work. I'm stress eating. We go deeper into it. So I hope that makes sense. So again, what I would suggest asking is what are some healthy snacks I can make that are really healthy and are really easy to get that I enjoy relatively? Hope that makes sense. But if you keep asking that question, as soon as you have the answer to that, you figure out like what some snacks are that are really easy for you to bring or have or ready to go. And once they're available to you in that moment, it's that's the path forward. Just keep figuring that out. Tabitha says, do you believe in the 80-20 method? Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're referring to the 80-20 method I teach in the program, yeah. So, yeah, I don't know if you're referring to some other 80-20 method, but I mean, the program I talk about it being 80-20, meaning focus on the 80% of your eating, not the 20%, if that makes sense. So that's my version of the 80-20 rule. It's the Pareto principle. It's another way to put it, but I don't know if you mean something different though, Tabitha. So no, I believe in the 80-20 method very much so, because I don't think you can be 100%. So I think 80-20, 90-10 is the solution, I think, to being 100% thinker, which is something you got to develop, because if you're a dieter, you're an all or nothing thinker. Dieting is literally an all or nothing mindset. So yeah, 80-20, 90-10, 75-25, whatever numbers work for you. The concept is basically the more important piece than the numbers is just this idea that you're never going to be 100% perfect. So let's focus on the 80% of our reading, first of all, not the holidays, not the vacations, things like that. But the 100%, or the 80% of our reading that's most impacting us, the things that show up every day or every week or consistently each month. And so for you, Tabitha, here's the thing. But so applying the 80-20 to what you're talking about so far, first we look at a whole week, and we're going to deal with the whole week. Let's just get the Monday through Friday down. So great. So it sounds like you've made a lot of progress forward with Monday through Friday. Like you've improved that a lot. Great. That's the 80% of your reading in total. You say, yeah, but my weekend's totally blowing things. Okay, maybe it is, but we got to start somewhere. You can't start 100%. I think that's the biggest mistake dieters make, is that they're going to be 100% perfect. And no way. They're not. And so they burn themselves out. So again, we need to take things in phases. You do this in every other area of your life. You can't just jump in being 100% perfect with things. You've got to kind of strategically work on certain things and then consistently start to get better and improve and things like that. So again, I do believe in the 80-20 rule, and you're kind of doing it with what you're saying. So you started with the 80% Monday through Friday. The weekend you're struggling a little bit with. Great. But now you get Monday through Friday down. So now you don't have as much energy to kind of do that. Now you can focus more energy on the weekend, improve that. So that makes sense. Just another one. Says, I've lost 70 pounds since July with your video, supporting me through, and thank you for posting what you do. Well, thank you. It's a little screenshot of that. Nice job. Wow. It's a lot of weight. A lot of weight since July. Great job. Yeah, I've been doing it for a while. Nice job. Keep it up. Tabitha, 80% clean eating, 20% indulgences. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think the 80-20 I apply to kind of everything. So yeah, I think 80-20 is fine. And I know people say, well, you're not going to lose weight that way. But, because dieters tend to have this recency bias. So when they're dieting, like they're 100% perfect and there's no room for 20% mistakes or indulgences. But then most of the time, again, when dieters are all or nothing, they're mostly nothing. They're usually in nothing mode. When they're in all mode, they're 100% perfect for a couple days or a couple weeks. But most of the time, they're kind of in nothing mode. So, yeah, I think 80-20 is fine. And then you see, again, though, 80-20 is an initial starting point. You see where your weight ends up. Maybe you got to dial the indulgences down a little more if you want to achieve the weight you want to achieve. So I think that, it's important to recognize that. Whoops. I think I'm being human. Yeah, exactly. Gustav says, I wake up starving every day before work. I must have the breakfast wrap from KFC. I know it's bad. It's not even so much that it's bad. It's just, again, Mustafa, what it comes down to for so many of you, Mustafa's just got a shitty strategy. There's just shit strategy going on. So now I'm assuming Mustafa wants to lose weight. And so if he's waking up starving every day, he's probably going to bed hungry because he's trying to super restrict. And he gets so hungry that he has no control over his eating. He's right off to KFC, starting his day off with some bullshit. And then he eats the bullshit. And I say, oh God, now I got to restrict. Now he's trying to restrict. And then he's getting super hungry and bored and stressed out in the afternoon. And now he can't control his eating. Now he gets home at night and he's like, I can't eat, or I got to eat. I don't know, but it just sounds like bad strategy. So when you wake up starving every day, anytime, folks, if you're starving, if you're trying to lose weight and you're trying to do it by starving yourself, it's never going to work. Not for long. So you can't be starving and successful, in my opinion. So that's my opinion on that, but it's a pretty accurate opinion, I would say. I know you dieters think that starving is the way to go, but it's not. It may be for the short term. For a little bit of time, you might lose some weight starving yourself, but eventually you're never going to live a life where you're starving. It's just not going to happen. So again, as soon as I hear I wake up starving every day, that's all. I don't care. The KFC is the least of my worries when I hear you wake up starving. When I hear you're waking up starving, that's my core problem. The KFC, whatever, a breakfast wrap from KFC is not a good option. I know that. But that's happening because you're waking up starving primarily. So Tabitha says, yeah, you're right. I already had done so much. I just get scared about gaining weight. Well, Tabitha, are you gaining weight though? Like you're what's going on with your weight? So yeah, you got kind of Monday through Friday cleaned up, and then the weekends are happening. And, Yeah, I don't know, like, is the weight going up? I just get scared about gaining weight. I hear that so often. So it's like, are you gaining weight or you're not? And if you're not, what are you scared about? Because again, the program yourself, then we structure our eating. So get rid of this fear. I don't have any fear about my weight because my eating's very structured. So if my eating's structured and I eat pretty consistent, if I eat consistently week to week, I don't have to be worried about my weight. Does that make sense? It's like, I know it's obvious, but so obvious. Sometimes we miss it. Gustav says, you're right. I become a slave to my desires. Not really. I mean, it's just like, I just think like when people like, oh, I'm a slave to my desires, it's like that just is the wrong framing. Oh, I can't control my cravings. And it's like, again, that's why I don't care, Mustafa, about the cravings for the KFC. What I care is that you're getting yourself into a place where you're starving. When you're starving, you're not going to fight any of your cravings off. So it's not like you're a slave to your desires. You're a slave to shitty strategies. I hope that makes more sense. Because again, you're framing it in this way that no matter how shitty your strategies are, you should be able to have some magical willpower that fights against them and overcomes them all. You dieters all think this because all dieters have shitty strategies. And then you expect your willpower to make up for all of it. You know? So I think it's really important that you all recognize that. I don't get myself starving. I manage my hunger. So I never get that hungry. So then I have a lot more ability to influence my eating. As soon as you get me to be starving, I make shitty food choices just like everyone else. The second you get me into a starving mode, I become a slave to my desires too. So again, you're way more a slave to your shitty strategies. I always think you're quote eat for fuel, not for comfort. Yeah. Now listen, and program yourself thin, it's an 80-20 thing, but we really 80% of the eating we want to be for fuel. Now again, these are idealized numbers. These might not be the numbers you start with. If you're eating 100% for fun, then maybe we start 20% for fuel, 80% for fun. No, I want to lose weight. I got to do 100% for fuel, Jim. Well, then you're not going to be doing this long, so knock yourself out. But again, I think it's good to distinguish your eating in two basic camps. Is it for fuel or is it for fun primarily? And again, we all start where we start. But what I want to do is, again, if Mustafa's over here eating, KFC, wraps for breakfast, bullshit for lunch, snacks for afternoon, bullshit for dinner, then we start 20% for fuel. You know what I mean? So everyone kind of starts where they start, but it's a process. Dieting has made you think that you can just jump into your plan 100% on day one, and you cannot. So there's that. So yeah, we do want to eat for fuel, obviously, but you're not just going to wake up one day and just eat for fuel all the time. You have to develop that. How I want quick results, Jim. Well, I can't get them that quick. Just another one. The starving crash dieting is what got me so big. The rebound eating afterwards killed me. Yeah, exactly. I'm not talking about that all the time. People always think the frustrating part is when you don't lose weight, but I'm telling you, the worst part is when you do lose weight and then you put it back on. That is devastating. And yeah, the starving crash dieting. It's like, Jesus, people, you're so trapped in that and you think that's the way. It's like you think keto's the way. It's like zoom out a little bit and average out how long you stay in your keto plans for. And it's the same with all the diets. How long? Oh, I got to count points, Jim. If I'm going to lose weight, I got to count points. Okay. Why do you say that? What's your experience been? When you've counted points, how long do you do it for? How long can you stick with it? And usually it's not all that long. So it's crazy. Yeah. Julie says, agree. 5 a day, 5 fruits or 5 vegetables a day. 5 a day for most Americans is fucking hard. You got to work up to it. Again, this idea, this is the part that makes me absolutely insane about weight loss is that everyone thinks like a dieter. Like if I just say, oh, here's your meal plan now, and it's 180 degrees different than what you usually do. But what, you're just going to do it? You're just going to force yourself to do it. Because how do we lose weight? Willpower. It's all about willpower. It's all about wanting it. No pain, no gain. Come on, you got to fight and struggle and force yourself. Bullshit. That's why 75% of the population is overweight or obese. 95% of dieters put the weight back on. So it's like, if you want different results, you got to do something different. And the main different thing I would suggest to you all is to start being more strategic with your weight loss. You're being tactical. You think you can just change everything in one moment, and you can't. It's like, again, if you put it in other context, it makes a lot of sense. I'm going to play a musical instrument. I'm going to learn. Oh, tomorrow's Monday. I'm just going to play all day long. I'm just going to be great at it. No, you're not. You got a life. You're a person. You got to slowly work up with it. And what's your rush anyways? That's another piece of it all. I am putting together the training, how to pick your goal weight. And I think it's really good. And I've been doing this professionally for 20 years. And it's like, it keeps getting better. And this training, I think, is really good. And I got Gym AI. You can work with Gym AI to help figure it out. But I want you all to be able to get your goal weights down. But yeah, starving crash dieting is never going to work for anyone, pretty much. Tabitha said, I weighed myself for a month to see my fluctuations. I started with 136 and now I'm 132. Now I want to weigh monthly. So let's see at the end of the month. Well, so Tabitha, I mean, this is what I mean. People say stuff to me and I have no context. So if Tabitha's talking about she's indulging too much on the weekends, but she's down 4 pounds over the month, like, what are we talking about? And then when you say I weighed myself for a month, does that mean you weighed yourself every day to see the fluctuations? That's what I interpret that as. Now you want to weigh yourself once a month? I wouldn't recommend that, but you do what you want to do, obviously. But great job. I mean, you dropped 4 pounds this month. I don't know. When I first read that stuff, it made me sound like you're stuck or you're struggling with the weekend stuff. Because I went up a pound from day before and I know why. Alcohol. Yeah, exactly. I didn't weigh myself today. I probably put a couple pounds on. I ate a bunch of pizza and drank a bit of wine last night. Stayed up late. Ate some cookies this weekend. I don't know. I might be up a pound or two, but it doesn't matter. Why? Because I go right back to my normal eating. My weight's going to come back down. You dieters, again, you're just so in the moment. Like with that scale has got a total grip on you. And it's like, you got to let that grip loosen. And ironically, one of the ways to loosen up the grip the scale has on you is to weigh yourself every day. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. Yeah, Vicky says, I'm okay with that since I rarely have alcohol. Exactly. I mean, if you drink some alcohol and you put some weight on, but you don't normally drink, like, why would you be worried? Am I crazy? But dieters are always so worried. It goes up and stays. It goes down. It's going to go right back up. It's just, again, your brain is your biggest enemy when it comes to losing weight. And you've never learned how to deal with your brain. So again, I suggest to you all, if you've never really dealt with your mindset when it comes to weight, please go click the link in my bio and go get the hypnosis session. Watch the video I made. Help you with that. Yeah, Vicky says, and I know my weight fluctuates day to day. Yeah, and that's okay. It is okay. Dawn says, is there a class this afternoon? Yes, there is. I didn't send the email out, which I should have, but you should be getting a reminder at 2:00. It should go out, but I guess I'll keep sending the emails out. But yeah, PYT Thrive call, 3:00, 3 p.m. Kent said, excited at where I'll be in my journey at next year's Super Bowl. There you go, Kent. Yeah, again, long-term focus, right? That's smart. That's so smart. I can't even stress that enough. Long-term focus is the way to go. Yeah. Where will be next year? Thinking that is so great, Kent, because first of all, it's good to extend our time frame. Most dieters think about weight loss in days, weeks, months. And so even just extending your time frame to think like, oh, next year, where will I be? It's good for your brain. It's good for it because it starts saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to be doing this for the next year. So it's great because you extend the time frame. B, it calms you down. It's not a fucking race. This isn't a race. Y'all make this such a race to lose weight, and most people never lose any weight at all. It's so weird. It's so weird that people can be so obsessed with weight for so long and not lose any weight. But then when you talk about calming down and slowing down, they're just so impatient. It's like, why are you so impatient? You're never losing weight. I don't know. It's like, I work with a lot of people, and it's like before they come and see me, they haven't lose weight for 6 months or a year, nothing. And then we start working together and they start losing some weight, like 3 pounds, 4 pounds a month. That's so slow. It's so slow. I mean, you were losing 0 and now you're losing 3, 4 pounds. How is that slow? Then what was the other weight? And it's like, you got 2 gears, you dieters. It's either, again, it's all or nothing. I'm either not losing any weight or I'm losing 20 pounds a month. It's just, and it's not your fault. Again, I just want to reinforce this. It's not your fault. You've been conditioned by the diet industry to think this way, but it's like, you've got to recognize the insanity of it. I mean, you got to help out here and recognize that you're trapped in this diet prison that's fucking with you. God, it doesn't make any logical sense. Someone else going through this, you'd be like, oh, come on. You were losing no weight for this 6 months. And now you're losing, 4 or 5 pounds a month. That's a lot more. But it's not fast enough. It's painfully slow. It's so weird. It's almost like painfully no is better than painfully slow for people. It's so weird. It's like losing no weight. I swear people are almost more comfortable than losing weight slowly. I don't get it. I really don't get that. I kind of get it, but it's like, I've always had a focus on working on that with myself because I knew I was impatient too. So I was like, how do I deal with my impatience? Because my impatience stops me dead in my tracks. And that's been so much of my focus, but a lot of people don't share that opinion. But great job, Ken. Yeah, I can't wait to see where you're at next year. Tab said, yeah, every day. And then Tab says, I'm stuck. How is that stuck? How is 4 pounds? How is 4 pounds in a month stuck? Can someone explain that to me? Is there something wrong with me? Or am I dreaming? If you lose 4 pounds in a month, is that stuck? Is that the definition of stuck? Is that what that means? Is that what a plateau is when you're only losing 4 pounds a month? What do we call it when you're not losing any weight? What's that called? Where am I? I said, oh, wait, you keep recommending that I weigh myself every day? I would. When can I stop? I'd stop once my weight was like stable for like 6 months. And again, let me mention this too, because I know I talk about get on the scale every day. I am saying get on the scale every day, but I'm also simultaneously saying you're working on your mindset while you do that. So you step on the scale and the weight goes up 2 pounds and your brain goes, oh my God, holy shit, it's fucking terrible. Blah, blah, blah. And you say, whoa, hold on, brain. The reason we're stepping on the scale every day is so I can become aware of what you say. Because what you're saying to yourself regularly is the main thing affecting your weight. You don't even realize what you're saying to yourself. When we talk about hypnosis, people go, oh, I don't know if I can be hypnotized. You absolutely can be hypnotized and you are being hypnotized. That little voice in your head is not even your voice. It was a voice that was put there by the diet industry. And to be honest, a lot of times it came via your parent. It's like a parent's voice that's giving you this dieting bullshit in your head. And so one of the points of stepping on the scale every day is kind of smoke this voice out. And so you step on the scale and it's up a pound and you freak out. It's your opportunity to say, whoa, relax. Day to day, the scale goes up in ways that don't make any logical sense. You could eat great today and the scale might go up tomorrow. You could eat shitty today and the scale might go down. Weight loss is completely inconsistent, unpredictable in the short term. And if you don't know this, well, you oughta if you care about your weight. And stepping on the scale every day will very quickly make you realize this. And so part of stepping on the scale every day is just to relax, calm down. It's like exposure therapy. Relax. Start to recognize some associations. Like one of the things I learned from weighing myself every day is it usually takes about 2 weeks for my weight to reflect what I've changed in my behavior. So if I start eating more, it usually takes about 2 weeks for my weight to kind of consistently stay up higher. And if I start eating less, it usually takes about 2 weeks or so for the weight to start showing a dip consistently. And so that has been absolutely crucial for me to know for my mindset. So the weighing myself every day, it's not weighing myself every day with your fucking diet mindset that you maintain and freak out every day. Again, in Program Yourself Thin, the core of one core of the program is that we're relaxing and calming down. Like when you step on the speedometer, when you look at the speedometer of your car, you're not freaking out. If you're going too fast, you slow down. If you're going too slow, you speed up. So the scale is just like, it's a data point. And I know you've been conditioned to be absolutely irrational and emotional about it, but that doesn't mean that's the only way you can respond to it. And so you just step on the scale every day. So, okay. And what you'll notice is your weight doesn't really fluctuate. It fluctuates some days 4 or 5 pounds sometimes, depending, what's going on with you. Sometimes there'll be dramatic fluctuations, rarely though. And most of the times you'll notice your weight's fluctuating a couple pounds up and down time to time. And I think that's good because you start thinking in averages and you start thinking longer term if you allow yourself to. You can't control your fucking weight day to day. Like you can't just eat great today and tomorrow unless you do drastic shit. So it's about trend lines. It's about big trends. And so to me, it's like, I would suggest, Tabitha, if you're doing well, you think you're stuck, but whatever. But if you're doing well with your weight loss and stepping on the scale every day is helping you kind of do this, I would stay on it because I think as well, it lets you realize this really matters to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what? I don't want to get into it anymore. I'd have to talk about it more, but I would suggest doing it every day. Tab's in the program, so I think she can. The rest of you, when can I stop? Once your weight really stabilized for 6 months or something, get off it. Unless you hate stepping on the scale, by the way. If you absolutely hate stepping on the scale, then forget it. But I think it's a valuable tool. Yeah. Vicky says, weighing daily is so helpful for me. Yeah, I think so. Oh, someone's asking the app. Yeah. If you can let them know, Don. The link is right there too. Like if you go to PYT Thrive class, there's a link literally to it. But yeah, I guess I should let you all, because I know I usually send the email out, but it's right there in the app. So if you could answer that for me, Don, thanks. I appreciate that. Judith said more like for the rest of your life. Yeah. I mean, I will tell you, I stepped on the scale every day while I was losing weight and then for a long time afterwards. And then after years, honestly, for me, I don't really step on it much anymore because it's always just the same, but yeah, Judith says it calms you down if you look at the bigger picture. I agree. So again, there is a mindset component to it. Like you all are freaking yourselves out because you're zooming in and thinking like, oh my God, my weight went up and now I got to lose it. And it's like, you're not recognizing the trend lines of what you're doing and how it's impacting your weight. And I think weighing yourself more helps with that. But Jules says, sometimes I'm bummed because I am a girl and our weight really fluctuates throughout the month. Okay. But Jules, like, I don't know how can you keep getting bummed about that month in and month out if you start to realize that's a trend my body has, that because I got my period in my cycle at different times, my weight goes up and then it comes back down. So it's like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Dieters are so like zoomed in, like each day, they're like, as soon as the weight starts. So it's like every month, right? If you zoom out over 12 months, you see like every month's kind of like this pattern. And it's like, it's directly related to your period. And it's like this every month. Right. But it's like dieters zoom right into that day and they start seeing the wake up. Oh my God. And the next day it's go, oh my God, holy shit, I'm gaining weight. I can't. And you're freaking out. And then it starts going down. You're like, I don't even know why it's going down. I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out, but if you zoom out, look at the big picture, you start to recognize there's patterns. And then it goes, oh yeah, when my period comes out, my weight would fluctuate 10 pounds. And then it comes off. Okay. I mean, what are you going to do? Like not have fluctuations? Like who gives a fuck if you're 10 pounds heavier for 4 days, 5 days, 5 pounds heavier? Who gives a fuck? Like, I don't get this, like when it's like, I don't know, like during the holidays, I eat more. I put 7 pounds on during the holidays this year. And I know I do that. That's a yearly trend I have. I don't freak out about it. I know I'm eating and drinking more. And so my weight shows up higher. But I know that's only a temporary way that I act that way. And then when I go back to normal weight, it's going to go back down to where it normally goes. And I'm just fine with it. I know that's just the nature and flows of things. So again, it's like this idea to get like, I my cycle and it affects my weight by 5 pounds every month. So what? So every month I'm going to get bummed out and stressed out because it goes up and just forget the part where it goes back down, or get really upset that it goes up for a couple days. I don't get that. Unless I'm misunderstanding it. Yeah, Judith, exactly. Judith says, can't have this all or nothing outlook, shades of gray. 1,000%. That's one of the lessons in the program, in the maintenance piece of it, is living in the gray area. Yes, there is no all or nothing, folks. And you guys are also convinced of all or nothing because that's what you've been taught. And when you go all mode, it feels kind of good because you get kind of fast results, but for a little while. So it's like at some point you got to wake up and realize it's not working. Yeah, shades of gray. Absolutely, Judith. I couldn't agree more than with that. Tab says people want instant gratification. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Tab said I'm practicing delayed gratification. I think it's good to practice delayed gratification. But also on top of that, I think practicing delayed gratification on one hand is okay. But the other side of that is if you say no to a food now, you're saying yes to lots of good stuff now, right? So let's just say I snack at night and it's like, oh, I don't want to eat it tonight because I want to lose weight. Okay, that's one way to do it. But I think a more effective way to do it is to say, I usually eat at night, but I don't want to eat tonight because I want to go to bed tonight feeling amazing about myself. I want to wake up tomorrow feeling proud of myself. So it's like I delayed gratification to some degree, but not too delayed. Not like, oh, the weight loss coming down. So the weight loss coming off it's in the future, like weeks probably. So that's a long time to delay gratification. That's hard and it's unnecessary. And you're going to get that gratification anyway, so that you can keep that out there and be looking forward to that. But I want instant gratification from my good decisions. And so I've noticed that like when I say no to the bullshit, yeah, I'm saying no to it. So, I'm delaying gratification. Well, not really, because I get the instant gratification. Every time I make a good decision, like instantly, I feel proud of myself. I feel happy. I feel empowered. I feel strong. And then there's certain moments that kind of reinforce that. Like when I go to bed and I reflect on what I did for the night, I'm like, holy shit, look at me. Great job. I wake up the next morning, like, hey, look at you. Look at what you did. So I'm not delaying it too far. I tap into all the gratification I could possibly get of making good decisions. So stressing you out. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. You know what I mean, though, right? Like, I mean, 4 pounds a month, I wouldn't say that's stuck. And especially where you're at, like, you're not like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how far away you are from what you want your goal to be, but it can't be that far. I wouldn't think. I'm guessing. Not to tell you what your weight should be, but I'm just assuming from the numbers. Yeah, Drew said that's so not stuck. I'll give you 4 of my pounds if you'd like. That's what I mean, right? Drew said I weigh myself every day so I can see the impact and effect of what I'm eating. Yeah, me too. I mean, again, and I know I'm saying like there's no direct impact, but sometimes there is. And I don't know, like I just feel like weighing yourself every day, you start to notice patterns. Some are short term, some are longer term. So I have noticed that sometimes I'll see the scale jump up like 2-3 pounds. Like, what the shit? And like a lot of times it's because I had a lot of salt the night before or something that kind of, inflames me, I feel like. And then sometimes I'll see the scale go down or up and I can't understand why that happened. But I just think weighing every day, again, I think of exposure therapy, just calms me down. It just becomes a normalized thing. I no longer have to worry about big jumps or big drops. Those disappear. I don't have to like eat well all week, just within my mind, imagine I'm losing 5 pounds and step on the scale and say it's 2 pounds. I feel devastated. I just feel, I don't know. Like, I just think there's so many more benefits to it. Now, if you don't want to weigh at all, I think that's fine. But I think weighing once a week, I just think is, I don't know. It's not what I would recommend, but you all do you. We all get to do what we want to do. Weigh-in Wednesdays for me. Yeah, that's fine too. Again, it's teach their own. Yeah, it's a way of learning about your body. Yeah, agreed. It's best just to see as information and feedback with the emotion. True. You're not wrong. I've through trial and error recognized it as best every day. Yeah, and again, I mean, everything I share with you folks, I didn't just come up with this stuff. I'm not just sitting here just giving you my I think this is how it was for me, or this is how it should be. I have learned all this stuff from talking with hundreds of people who have lost weight and kept it off for years. And I start to notice patterns, so. Big Gilly says you can get a smart scale with an app. You can step on it and I'll look at the number and check later. But again, like why I just, this fear that is like one of my biggest reasons of stepping on the scale every day is to eliminate and work through this fear that so many people have about the scale. Like what is the fear? I just feel like the fear, like if because to me, and this is my theory on this, that you don't mind, you have no problem looking at the speedometer of your car. If you're going too fast, you don't freak out, you just slow down. If you're going too slow, you speed up. Now you say, yeah, Jim, but that's because I know how to slow up and speed down. Exactly. I think the scale is not the main problem. I think it reveals the main problem, which is that most people have no idea how to lower their weight, not that you want to increase it, but you don't know how to lower your weight. You don't know how to influence your eating. You don't know how to do it. That's what I think. And I think the scale reveals that to you. Because I have no problem. I step on the scale, it's 10 pounds up. Okay, I'm going to dial things in. That's the emotional response. Oh no, 5 pounds on. Okay, time to clean things up. How is that not a better response than freaking out? You would have to let me know. Oh, I have to freak out, Jim. Well, I don't believe that. I don't believe you do. Which again reveals my main point here, that your mindset's the most important piece of your weight loss success. Flu fluctuations are okay as long as the general trends is downwards. Yeah, exactly. Looking for the trends. That's what we're looking for. Delayed gratification in the sense of looking forward to something nice to eat the next day. Yeah, for sure. 125 is my goal, Tabitha says. Okay, so Tabitha, right? So you're 134, whatever. So you're 9 pounds away from your goal. Okay. And so last month you were 13 pounds away from your goal. So in 1 month, you moved 25% closer to your goal. That's not stuck to me. And plus, as you get closer to your goal, and especially the numbers as they're lower, but this is true for most people because it's usually based on who they are. But when you get closer and closer to your goal, it usually is slower and slower. Morel says we'll have to count our calories forever, though, don't we? Hypnosis or not, how else are we going to keep? No, you do not have to count your calories. No, you do not. I have never counted calories. I never help my clients count calories because I think it's a shitty long-term process for the exact reason that you're alluding to. That we'll have to count our calories forever, though. Ugh. Sounds terrible. You don't have to count your calories, folks, if you structure your eating and you're consistently eating the same foods week to week. You don't have to keep fucking counting. Right? If I was in control of your food and I gave you the same food every week, would you need to count your calories? We can replicate that to some degree by structuring our eating and eating consistently. I would never count my calories. Tedious, it's wrong, it's bullshit. Again, I would suggest structuring eating so you don't have to count calories forever. Just says face the demons and use the information to move forward. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more, because I think when you're terrified of the scale, I think that reveals some deep emotional issue that's going to sabotage your weight loss, is what I think. And I think you're right. You got to face them. Tabitha, yes, it's so slow. Ugh, patience. I don't know. I don't know Tabitha's exact story, but I know, well, I don't say almost without fail, but a lot of people that just weren't losing weight start losing weight with me. And then it's always so slow, they feel like. And I don't know, because I'm going to tell you, Tabitha, the difference between 132 and 125, is that what you want? That's 7 pounds. Like, you know, I don't know. It's funny because I'm doing the goal weight thing right now, the goal weight training for people. And it's like this idea, and it's so, I forget this so often, but this idea that's got to be one specific number is just the kiss of death. It's just the kiss of misery. Because as soon as you think you have to stay stuck to one single number, you're just setting yourself up for misery, because your weight's always going to fluctuate to some degree. And so every time it goes up a little bit, you're going to freak out. So again, that's part of the training, is to have a range. But the difference that you think there is between 132 and 125, I promise you, is not that different. And if it is to you, you know, that's probably a good indicator to check out your motivations. Morel says that's the only way for me to actually know I'm not eating too much calories. No, it's the only way you know of right now. And again, you're committing the ultimate diet or sin, which is that you think you know everything. You think you know what to do, and you just got to get yourself to do it. Well, yeah, but I know what worked for me in the past. Did it work for you in the past? Are you at your goal weight? Were you able to keep counting those calories long term? We cannot conflate something that works for a little while with something that's going to work long term. Yeah, no. Again, I'm not picking on you. What I'm trying to point out is that this is so dieter. This is so dieter to be like, the thing that works is the thing that doesn't work for me. How many out there of you think that keto is what you have to do to lose weight? Even though you fucking done it however many times and it's not working, you're not at your goal weight. If you're counting calories and you're at your goal weight and have been there for 3 years, then that works for you. You're right. I'm not going to tell you what to do. If you've been on keto for 15 years and you're right at your goal weight, don't listen to me. Do keep doing what you're doing. But if you're overweight and you're struggling to lose weight and you think, oh, I got to do the thing that doesn't work for me and it's not working for you. If you're not doing it, there's a great chance it's because it's not working for you. Working for you can not only be defined as, do I lose weight with it? If that was the case, then you would just be doing what you needed. We do what feels okay for us. And most people hate counting calories. They hate being on keto plans long-term. They hate restricting. They hate doing all this stuff, so they stop doing it. They don't do it long. So we can't say that works. That's such a shitty definition of works. I've been at my goal weight. I've lost 50 pounds 30 years ago. I'm at the same weight for 30 years. I had one blip 12 years ago. I love how I eat. It's easy. It's simple. I don't diet. I haven't dieted once, and I don't even exercise. I've mastered my eating. Mo Burrell says, I'm 37. I've been overweight my whole life. Joined a gym in August and haven't lost a kilo until I started counting. I hate it, but it works. Don't know what else I could do. I mean, listen, I don't think there's nothing wrong with counting calories as a calibration tool. So if you've been overweight your whole life, counting calories is helpful in terms of the strategy of becoming more nutrition label literate, right? So there's a good chance if you've been overweight your whole life, you don't really know what calorie contents of foods are. So tracking calories in the sense of what's the calorie density of that food, what's the calorie amounts of that food that's serving, all the rest of it, getting yourself literate on those things, I think is valuable. But the idea that you're going to track calories for the rest of your life, I don't think you're going to do it. Maybe I'm wrong. So you can prove me wrong. That's fine. But if you find yourself not tracking them anymore and putting weight back on, then remember I'm here. Okay. And there are other ways. Yeah. I hate it, but it works. I hate it, but it works while I can force myself to do it for a little while is probably a more accurate way to describe it. And it's not going to last for long. I'm not trying to be negative. So how do you take your calorie counting and turn it into a long-term thing? I think that's where you need to structure your eating. So let me put it this way. Okay, let me put it this way. And I know you're going to freak out when I say this. So I want to just use this as a point and understand that there's more flexibility than I'm talking about, but I'm just saying it this way just to describe a point. Let's say you count calories for 1 week. Okay. You track calories for 1 week and you lose weight. Okay. But let's say that after that first week, you track all the calories, you lose weight. And now from that point forward, you just replicate and eat the same exact food each week. Would you need to keep counting your calories? Would you? I hope you're saying no. No, because I would just be, the calories were in a range where I was losing weight. So I don't need to count the calories. I just need to keep eating the same thing. I know you figure, so I could never eat the same thing forever. That's a different story. Okay. But what I'm saying is once you figure out how to eat in a calorie range where your weight starts coming off, I don't know why you have to keep counting the calories. Once you get your portion sizes and things under control, obviously. Does that make sense? Yeah, Mobrel says, I'm learning about calories. Yeah, so again, that's good. I mean, learning about calories, I think, is an important piece of mastering your weight. It was a huge part for me to understand calorie density, by the way. That's really the real important piece. So if you're going to track calories, you really ought to understand the concept of calorie density. Okay. But there are a lot of strategies out there as well. There are diets out there. They've done diets where people count calories versus people that don't count any calories. And the people that don't count any calories are on average consuming 500 calories less a day. How are they doing it? They're consuming diets of way less calorie dense foods. And if these words aren't making sense to you, this is what I would suggest you look up, because it's a very important concept when it comes to weight mastery, is understanding calorie density. So specifically, what foods were they eating where they weren't even tracking anything and just naturally eating 500 calories less? Well, they were in a whole plant food diet. But that's another story. But once you figure out what diet has lower calories in it and you replicate it, and again, you can add variety to it. I want to make that clear. But once you know that, oh, if I eat this much here, I lose weight, there's no need to count calories anymore, in my view. So that's how I think about things. And I'm lazy as shit. So the idea of like, if I had to count calories for everything I ate, I would never stick with it. I would never do it. So, there it is. Downstairs says, can I reverse feet and leg pain caused by my weight? Need to drop 35 kilograms. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, it certainly isn't going to help you to drop 35 kilograms. And I would frame that differently. You don't need to drop shit. You never need to drop weight, folks. You could be on death's doorknob with, with heart issues and diabetes issues and, amputation issues, and you still don't need to lose weight. You never need to lose weight. Ever, never, 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 ever need to lose weight. As proven by millions and millions of people that never lose the weight. So you either want to lose the weight or you don't. It's kind of that simple. So if you wanted to drop 35 kilograms because it would make your feet and legs feel better, your knee joints, your hip joints, your body in general run more efficiently and comfortably, yeah, I would be almost guaranteed that you would feel better and have more comfortable. Would it reverse whatever foot issue, leg pains that you have? I don't know. I don't know the cause of them, but there's a very high likelihood that it would, in my opinion. And I'm French. Do you know how delicious food is over here? Yeah, I get it. But I mean, food's extra good over here. So, it's not even, I'm not saying it's as tasty or as high quality, but it's like straight, it's like dirty drugs. It's like crack. So, I wouldn't I don't really like French food because it's too heavy for my opinions, but I get what you're saying or what you're thinking. But here in America, we got the most delicious, addictive food on the planet. So, I help people in this environment lose weight all the time. And I have worked with people from France as well, few times, but it's all mindset, it's all about motivation. So, anyways, all right, everyone, gotta get out of here. All unhealthy foods are delicious. Yeah, kind of, pretty much. That's just kind of true. And it's not, what's delicious too, by the way, delicious is a funny thing because, what we think is delicious is really just stuff that affects our brain in a certain way in our body. So what do you notice delicious? Fat, salt, sugar. And so all of these things really influence our brain in very interesting ways. And so that's what you think is delicious. So anyways, I'm going to get into that. All right, everyone. But yeah, if you want to go deeper into this whole concept that I'm talking about, click the link in my bio, go get the hypnosis session, watch the video I made for you. And go check that out. And I'm here live every day, Monday through Friday, noon Eastern. If you have any questions, pop on here and ask them. I'm happy to answer them for you. And then this is also a podcast. So yeah, program yourself then. So if you ever want to listen to it, it's on all podcast platforms. Go check it out. And it's there waiting for you. All right, everyone, have a super duper day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.